Now, as it relates to investments, a big thing for lots of us at the end of the year, tax harvesting. What does that mean? It means selling the losses so that you can realize those. So if you have some investments that haven't performed the way you wanted this year, well, the silver lining is quite often you can use these losses to offset future gains. So it's a good idea to go through your investment accounts and make sure that anything that's at a loss that you can sell, maybe consider doing it because you can also use that to optimize your capital gains picture later. For expats specifically, it's probably a good idea to make sure this is also a loss in your local currency. So you might want to consider what the currency shifts might be from when you bought to when you sold. It's another thing to think about. It does vary from country to country whether something in the US would be taxable in that way, but it's a good thing to be checking in on if that is your situation. On a more general standpoint, the overall asset allocation of your portfolio is a good thing to revisit. Namely, is it still fit for purpose? What I mean by that is maybe you started the year wanting to invest for the long term, something like a taxable account. You're not really sure what to do with the money. Maybe you want something in 10 years, maybe sooner. And then you decide, oh, I saw this house I love, I really want it, just for example. That would shift your overall portfolio allocation because your goals have shifted. So that might be a time where you, for example, might want to play things more conservative if you expect that in the year or two you might want access to those funds. That's just one example, but the point is, if your goals have shifted or if your risk appetite has shifted, this is a good time to look at your portfolio and think, is this set up next year the way I want it to be? And like I said, that's related to life circumstances in terms of if there's a major purchase coming up, if you expect to need access to funds for any reason, this is a good time to be just checking in on those things to make sure you're not having to draw from your portfolio in an inopportune time at the market that you don't want too much volatility in that type of a way. So
Just to
good. Yep. Go
circle
ahead.
back on that tax harvesting piece, Josh, are there any
Yep.
particular thresholds or limitations or say carrying forward certain losses that people could be aware of in these situations?
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. So you, in most places, like in the US, for example, you can carry these losses forward to future years as well. So yeah, it's a good point, Ruben. It's not just about offsetting gains this year, but you can also carry them forward for future years as well. Now, I believe in the US, you can also offset some taxable income too, but only up to a few grand, if I remember off the top of my head. That's not necessary. That's why I haven't harped on that too much, is that's not necessarily going to be
A
the
bit more
case in
nuanced.
the other jurisdiction. So it's something to bear in mind. But yes, that's another really great thing about the harvesting is you don't have to just apply that in this year. It can be carried forward for future years as well. So it's a nice way to
Absolutely.
optimize your capital gains picture in those types of ways.